When I started working on review NieR Automata, I always knew I could not fit it to being just one video. However, as this is now the third part of the recap review, I should have seen that I could never have done this in 2 videos. Even Clem's Automata review was 4 videos long, and unlike me, those videos were almost an hour long each. I didn't plan a grandiose opening for this video unlike with part 2, so let's cover the rest of the recap review and not make this video so long that I need to make a part 4. But before we begin, reminder that as this is the part 3 video, make sure you have watched parts 1 and 2 first, and don't start this here from the last part. And now let's return to the recap. The pods 153 and 042 share with each other how low 9S has fallen psychologically, as 9S makes his way to Devil and Popola at the Resistance camp for his needed maintenance.
Oh dear. What happened to you?
Wounded in battle. NFCS not functioning.
I'm amazed you were even able to drag yourself here. This is gonna take a bit, so just hang tight. This is terrible. Your motor cortex is full of holes. I can't believe you even managed to walk here.
I didn't walk here.
Alright, you're all good. 9S, I need you to promise me something. Don't die alone. I don't think 2B would want that either.
I know.
After getting what he needs from the twins, 9S heads to the final tower he needs to get the last key from. This one is at the amusement park, where 9S also finds the remains of a Resistance member whose dog tags he picks up for his delivery quest. Approaching the tower, 9S makes a meta-commentary about the series
Over and over.
and then enters the God box, as it is named in the angelic language. Going in and going up the elevator, the player control is switched back to A2 after leaving Pascal, and she can hear the God box's tower loudspeaker all the way to the abandoned factory.
Hello, and thank you for choosing San Francisco Services.
Huh?
We've got some very exciting news for everyone today. There's only one lock left to remove from the tower substation. And in order to regain it for your faithful patrons, whoever dismantles the platinum substance will earn a special prize. Good luck!
The hell was that?
Large structural unit of machine life for origin activated to the east.
A large what now? What the heck is going on around here?
Unknown.
Well, let's go check out this large structural unit.
Before heading off to investigate it, however, she first goes to deliver her pickup to Devil and Popola, who then ask A2 to pick up something else for them from the desert zone. Because the game was not going on real time like Dead Rising or Persona 5, I decided to do that side quest before going to the amusement park, and of course there had to be more of those damn flying serpent machines. Getting back to the twins with her pickup, A2 finds Devola passed out drunk sleeping next to Popola, who tells A2 that they are defective android models who get punished for what past models of them did back in NieR Replicant. It is not something the two have done, but what models identical to them have done long time ago that I won't spoil if you haven't played Replicant. A2 heads to the amusement park and the player control switches back to 9S climbing up the tower, destroying and hacking every machine he comes across on his way in a symbolic darkness. At the top of the tower, 9S comes across his former operator 210, who attacks him under the control of the machine virus and forces 9S to fight another friendly phase. In this boss fight against 210, it is required to hack the barrier she raises between her and 9S, while also trying to avoid the bullet hell before you have to fight your former operator, who wanted a family and gave you the weapon you're fighting against her.
Just for your family. It was so lonely.
Unfortunately, the machine virus doesn't allow 210 to stop trying to attack 9S, and she is ultimately killed by A2. who now has killed two important people to 9S, whose anger and rage against A2 just keeps rising. But they don't get a chance for a confrontation yet, as 9S falls through a broken floor, and A2 has to fight another machine life form next. After this quick fight against a big brother machine and its siblings as A2, the pods discuss about their commitment to serving the androids, and then it's back to playing as 9S. At this point, it is possible to hack into the big tower's subsystems to enter the tower, but as 9S I still had the keepsake gathering side quest to finish. So, after 9S picks the last keepsake, he has to go fight some really tough hostile machine life forms at the desert, where the remaining resistance members are slain by them. Then delivering the bad news to the resistance member, he tells 9S about the funeral ritual as a tradition of mourning the dead. Which then leads to 9S visiting Emil's shrine to Kaine to leave his own memorial to 2B by leaving her blindfold or visor on a stick among the lunar tears.
2B, I'm not quite sure what it means to mourn, or even if we have a soul to concern ourselves with. But I hope you're at rest, 2B. Sweet dreams. I'll be with you before long.
And then he charges to the big tower, hacks the 3 substations to gain the access to the tower, and begins to hack his way inside as hostile machines begin to approach, as 9S slowly tries to open the doors. Luckily, help arrives in the form of Devil and Popola.
You?
9S, we've been expecting you. The 2 of us will take things from here. You need to open the door to the tower.
Who hold on against the machines in letting 9S hack the doors open, but the defenses are too strong for him and he is thrown out of the hacking space.
What happened?
It's the barrier.
Popola!
No, don't! You can't do anything! The wall's got a
Enough!
self-closing
Devil and I, we have to atone for our sins no matter what!
Devil and Popol are still willing to atone for their sins from NieR Replicant, and pull the ultimate sacrifice in getting the doors open at the cost of Popola's circuits, and Devola throws 9S inside.
Devola!
I hope you don't regret this.
At this point, the game gives a text story behind Devil and Popola's lives after and during the events of Replicant, and if it doesn't make you want to give them both a hug, you are a heartless person. Without spoiling the events of NieR Replicant, the twins were treated like pariahs due to the actions of the original Devil and Popola models who failed to support Project Gestalt, and ultimately doomed the last chances the humanity had of being salvaged, and how the other androids began to treat them with hostile contempt and violent persecution for what those other Devil and Popola models did. Not only that, but the newer Devil and Popola models were also given a memory wipe of what happened in Replicant, and were forced to live with the strong emotions of guilt over something they never knew what it was about. Pod 153 relays this information to 9S as he ascends the tower and fights more corrupted YoRHa combat models coming his way, until the combat models turn out to be replicas of 2B, which causes 9S to have a mental breakdown that Kyle McCarley portrays perfectly.
I'm glad I got to see you here. I truly am. I'll tear you apart. Every last one of you!
9S fights and destroys them all, but the last one is booby-trapped and the explosion he gets caught in sends us to play as A2. She makes her way to the tower as well, finds Devil and Popola at the base, and commends them for their efforts before following 9S's footsteps inside. A2 goes through the same route as 9S did and past the point where he fought the 2B replicas, until she arrives to a near-perfect recreation of the library from NieR Replicant. Pod 042 grants A2 hacking abilities to let her access the hidden data, which includes index records for YoRHa, Adam and Eve, the human server, and the biome of animals and plants along with the tower's own data. An interesting add-on is the patient record for the long passed away YoRHa from NieR Replicant, and a file on A2, which she doesn't get to read before being attacked by a machine, and then it goes back to playing as 9S. He wakes up damaged next to one of the 2B replicas, and replaces his damaged arm by tearing it off the replica. Which causes him to now become infected with the machine virus. Moving on from there, 9S comes face to face with the true antagonists of the game, the Red Girls, who promise to tell him everything he wants to know if he survives in another gauntlet of hostile enemy machines. After doing that, 9S gets the final confirmation of what everything he has been through was about. The secret YoRHa disposal file reveals that YoRHa bunker always had a backdoor. That very same backdoor 2B and 9S used to get back there at the beginning of the third playthrough. That was always meant to allow the bunker get attacked by the machine virus. All of YoRHa would have been disposed of and then been replaced this way with newer models updated with the combat data collected by the previous generation. That would have then gone to go through it all over and over and over again.
Over and over.
Everyone was disposable. Everyone was expendable. They were all destined to die. And then it happens again. When they were to be destroyed, wipe the slate clean, the machine network, where the machines and androids were the same, where the machine cores and black boxes were the same, were made from the same materials. They would have made new androids, new 9S, new 2B, new commander, new operators, new everyone take the place, and this whole thing would have happened all over again. And this isn't the first time, it has been happening over and over and over again. And if 9S knows this, it was all for combat data. It was all about collecting combat data. It all happens just to get more data. And this data is then implemented on the new models. They go through it all with this data and collect new data. They get disposed of. Whole existence is just so what you can get, you can collect what you're getting. Well, there is a method to 9S's madness. Countless of Android generations have gone through this, with now being 9S's turn, and this knowledge with his expanding corruption with the machine virus pushes him forward, tearing through more YoRHa models and flying up the tower with their flight units. Back to A2, she fights that machine typed Ko-Shi until it escapes, and A2 follows it to an elevator that she needs to hack in order to get it moving. In the hacking space, she is confronted by the Red Girls, who taunt her about killing all her friends during the events of the stage play and manga. A2 has to fight an endless swarm of the Red Girls, who become more and more hostile with strategic bullet hell, until Pod 042 suggests her to let the enemy keep attacking without responding to their attacks.
Proposal.
What now?
Utilize the enemy's logical learning function to formulate a weakness.
I don't know what that means!
This pod has serious concerns about Unit A2's cognitive abilities.
Shut up and explain it already!
Said strategy would interrupt the enemy's logic circuits, causing a computational delay.
Meaning what?
Do not destroy the enemy.
Huh?
Striking at the logic circuit requires a certain number of enemies to remain extant for a certain period of time.
Oh, what the hell?
This will cause their defenses to try to adapt to A2's inactivity, and ultimately, without a hostile opponent, make the Red Girls turn against themselves like different factions of a fandom trying to prove the other one as the toxic one and keep them out of it.
Analysis. The saturated consciousnesses are now in conflict with each other.
They're acting like humans.
A2 gets the elevator to work this way, and here the perspective will switch back and forth between her and 9S, in trying to reach the top of the tower while fighting the last wave of the machines and the Koshi model along with the YoRHa model. It is another gauntlet of regular combat with A2 and a bullet hell in flight sequence with 9S. Ultimately, they both reach the top where Koshi and YoRHa combine into a Koshi and YoRHa machine that A2 and 9S have to fight together with the player control switching randomly between them. After they are done, the game reaches the final confrontation where it is revealed that the tower is a giant cannon aimed at the human server on the moon, and 9S in his developed madness is willing to let that all happen after everything he has learned.
We aren't required in this world anymore. Humanity is extinct. That moon server you're so worried about was invented to give us androids something to fight for. And YoRHa was created to perpetuate the lie. But in order to make sure no one ever learned the truth, we were designed to be killed. They built a back door in the bunker and programmed it to activate after a certain amount of time. The commander, me, 2B, sacrificial lambs. All of us. Isn't that hilarious? Doesn't it make you laugh?
9S, we...
Shut up! You killed 2B. That's all we need to kill each other.
2B hated to keep killing you.
A2, who has been carrying 2B's memories since he euthanized her, then reveals another truth to 9S about his working relationship with 2B. To put more weight and evidence on it is the file on A2, which references her soul survivor status from the stage play and manga, which was analyzed into personality data that was then installed to the next generation of Model 2 Type E YoRHa models, like 2B.
The 9S type is a high-end model. They knew you'd discover the truth eventually, but the model designation 2B was just a cover. The official designation is 2E, number 2 Type E. They were a special class of members designed to execute YoRHa units. But you knew that, right, 9S?
Shut up! Shut up!
The truth hurts 9S so much that he cannot accept it, and now it is time for them to fight in another set piece that once again makes The Last of Us Part 2 pale in comparison, as the player is given a choice of fighting either as A2 against 9S or as 9S against A2. The choice made here will depend on what ending the game will have, so let's go over with them in an alphabetical order. Ending C, Meaningless Code. In this ending, we play as A2 and defeat 9S by cutting off the hand he got for himself from the 2B replica and release him from the corruption of the machine virus. She then hacks into 9S's memory space, where while looking for 9S's consciousness also warms up to pod 042.
I'll take care of everything.
After sending 9S to safety with her pod, A2 reaches out to the data stream of collected data she knows her old friends and companions from the stage play and manga are. A2 apologizes to them for not having realized how beautiful the world really was, and says that she will be coming for them as the floor beneath her breaks, and she falls with the rest of the crumbling tower. Ending D, Childhood's End. In this ending, we play as 9S and defeat A2 as she gets distracted by 2B's voice and is stabbed by 9S, who then slips on her blood and falls on A2's sword, unable to get back up, as he lies in the pool of blood next to A2, dying. 9S's consciousness retreats into his memory space, where pod 153 begins the emergency evacuation of his memories to somewhere. As 9S's memories are recapped in a similar text story as with Devil and Popola, he hears the red girl's voice in telling him what he already knows of the tower being a cannon aimed at the human server on the moon to destroy it. But after they saw the androids along with Adam and Eve living, the red girls changed their minds and modified the cannon to serve as an ark to carry the machine lifeforms to a new homeworld in the stars. Adam and Eve are on this ark and offer 9S a chance to come with them on this new journey to find the machines a new homeworld. As the player, you can either agree or decline this offer, and as the player, I chose to let 9S go with them as he no longer had anything left for him on Earth, and because staying would have probably made him just die next to A2. Once again, the tower crumbles as the ark is launched into space with Anemone's resistance watching it, as we see Devola and Popola having peacefully passed away. Ending E, the end of YoRHa. During the final end credits, Pod 153 reports that all YoRHa black boxes have gone offline, and the remaining data should be deleted. Pod 042, however, refuses to comply after finding the player's data among the data storage, and at the player's permission, wishes to begin data salvage. Agreeing to this leads to one final bullet hell where you have to control a similar hacking cursor as when hacking machines with 9S, where you this time have to fight against the end credits. The final stretch of the game can be seen as a kind of meta, as the player engages with the game's creators in an escalating challenge, where the game constantly asks you to give up when you get hit 3 times in a row. Ultimately, these inquiries of giving up yet begin to have encouraging messages in the background that all share the same goal in pushing you forward and carrying on. After refusing to give up enough time, you eventually receive a rescue offer. Mine came from Azure, and while I was about to accept it, I acknowledged these encouraging messages being sent from all the other NieR Automata players from across the world, mostly from China, US and Vietnam. When I accepted the offer to help, my cursor got support from other cursors in giving me more firepower against the end credits, and so made reaching the end much easier. During this, the weight of the world playing in the end credits received a chorus of multiple people singing in the background to properly symbolize the unity among the player base, helping other players get through this final challenging gauntlet just like they had been helped, and to carry on the memory for those players whose data got deleted every time I took damage. After the credits have rolled, a final cutscene shows Pods gathering at the city ruins at the bodies of 2B and 9S, as a flock of doves flies away from A2, who has grown back her hair. Finally, Pod 153 asks the player to leave a message to whomever will be in my situation in the future. The message I left was, "My voice may not reach you, but you've got us with you. I hope my voice will also reach that player who will get it in this video." Then Pod 042 asked if I was willing to sacrifice my player data to help someone in the same way I was helped at the end of the credits. To this I agreed, multiple times when asked if I was sure, because I was willing to do that, and because I saw doing this as the true way of moving on from a finished game. As my data was deleted, I said goodbye to the pod and to the game, and as this long 3-part recap review is now at its end, I want to say to the players who made their sacrifice, the people who worked on this game, to director Yoko Taro and composer Keiji Okabe for his music, kiitos tästä pelikokemuksesta.
All of this is wrong. No matter how hard or how painful, they never gave up. They kept fighting because they believed they could overcome someday. Isn't that right, Kaine? Even if it's pointless, you still have to do it. Because this is the